Manchester United have by no means closed the door on reinforcing their midfield. Having secured several fresh attacking options, the club's gaze has naturally shifted towards the engine room, an area that often dictates the rhythm and balance of a side. Amongst the potential names emerging in recent weeks, Brighton and Hove Albion's young star Carlos Baleba has begun to capture attention. United, under the stewardship of newly appointed head coach Ruben Amorim, are intent on building a squad capable of challenging both domestically and on the European stage. The arrival of Benjamin Eko earlier in the summer was viewed as a major statement of intent, strengthening the forward line with a player widely regarded as one of the brightest talents on the continent. Yet, despite the influx of attacking quality, the United hierarchy remain unconvinced that their midfield possesses sufficient depth and resilience to execute Amorim's dynamic style of football. A manager with a clear tactical identity, Amorim places considerable emphasis on transitional play and control of central spaces, areas which demand midfielders of both technical and physical caliber. It is for this very reason that Carlos Baleba has surfaced as a name of genuine interest at Old Trafford. The 20-year-old Cameroonian has quickly established himself as a player of great promise within Roberto De Zerbi's Brighton side, drawing admirers for his composure on the ball-winning abilities, and forward-thinking approach. United's recruitment team view him as more than simply a prospect. They believe he could provide a foundational piece for the club's long-term project. Reports indicate that Manchester United have already explored the possibility of prizing Baleba away from the Amex. Amorim is thought to be personally keen on the youngster, convinced that his qualities would neatly complement the tactical demands of his system. Baleba's energy, discipline, and capacity to cover ground make him particularly appealing to a manager seeking balance in midfield. Negotiations, however, encountered a significant stumbling block. Brighton, known for their resolute stance in the transfer market, set an eye-watering valuation on Baleba. United's initial inquiries were met with a figure that sent shockwaves even through Old Trafford's well-versed negotiators. That figure was £115 million, a sum identical to the record-breaking transfer that saw Moises Caicedo swap Brighton for Chelsea last summer. The message from Brighton's boardroom was unequivocal: Baleba would not be leaving for anything less. For Manchester United, who are operating with a cautious financial strategy in light of past transfer missteps, the figure proved prohibitive. Consequently, United opted to withdraw from formal talks, deciding against pursuing what would have been one of the most expensive midfield acquisitions in football history. The decision underscored both the club's newfound restraint and Brighton's growing reputation as a club that demands premium fees for its most prized assets. Nevertheless, the story does not end there. According to The Athletic, the Red Devils' retreat should not be interpreted as surrender. United have continued to keep a watchful eye on Baleba's development, monitoring his performances closely as the Premier League season unfolds. Transfer insider Fabrizio Romano has gone further, suggesting that Manchester United's interest is far from extinguished. Instead, the club appear willing to bide their time, awaiting a more opportune moment to test Brighton's resolve once more. This strategy reflects a longer-term approach, one that aligns neatly with Amorim's broader vision for the squad. Baleba himself is increasingly seen as central to Brighton's evolving identity. His maturity, despite his youth, has endeared him to the Seagulls faithful, and he has quickly become an important cog in De Zerbi's midfield machine. United's task, therefore, is not simply to persuade Brighton, but to tempt away a player who has found both form and belonging on the south coast. In Manchester, however, there is a growing conviction that Baleba is worth the wait. His profile as a physically dominant yet technically proficient midfielder is exactly what United have been missing since the departure of Michael Carrick and the gradual decline of Nemanja Matic. Amorim, a coach who places enormous value on midfield structure, sees Baleba as someone who could anchor his tactical blueprint for years to come. For Brighton, the situation offers both an opportunity and a dilemma. Should Baleba's stock continue to rise, they will undoubtedly be able to command a fee in line with their lofty demands. At the same time, there is recognition that holding on to such players indefinitely is increasingly difficult when the Premier League's most illustrious names come calling. Manchester United are quietly casting their eyes towards South America, with Brazil once again serving as fertile ground for future talent. According to Globo Esporte, The club recently dispatched their scout Alexandre Torres to the Maracana, where he observed Internacional's young forward Ricardo Matias in action during a Copa do Brasil tie against Fluminense. Although the 19-year-old did not feature in the starting lineup, he came on as a substitute and left enough of an impression with his movement and physical presence to warrant further consideration. Torres' involvement carries added weight, given he is the son of Brazilian footballing legend Carlos Alberto, and was on official duty for United. Standing at an imposing 1.92 meters, Matias is the sort of striker who immediately catches the eye. His game is built around a blend of strength and acceleration, attributes that often prove a handful for defenders. While still considered raw in terms of technique and tactical awareness, the teenager is seen by many as possessing the foundations of a top-level centre-forward. In Brazil, prospects such as Matias are often regarded as long-term projects, players whose rough edges can be polished with the right development environment. It is precisely the sort of profile that United have increasingly sought in recent years, combining potential with the physical tools to adapt to European football. United are far from alone in keeping tabs on the youngster. Dutch side PSV Eindhoven have been monitoring his progress for some time, while another Premier League club has reportedly gone as far as to lodge a formal letter of interest with Internacional. The competition is not limited to Europe, either. Two Brazilian investment groups have already attempted to secure his rights, although talks eventually collapsed. Such attention reflects Matias' rising stock since his move from Nova Iguaçu in 2022. In just over a year with Internacional's senior side, he has managed 17 appearances and 3 goals, enough to generate serious interest abroad. The financial side of any deal is likely to be complex. Matias' market valuation has soared from €1 million to €4 million within the space of a year, and his current contract runs until 2028. Internacional have inserted a hefty release clause of €65 million, which serves both as protection and as a marker of the esteem in which they hold the player.